Egypt, a cradle of civilization where the mighty river Nile watered the first great cities, and where over 3,000 years ago, one of the most spectacular and enduring architectural complexes was built, the great temple of Queen Hatshepsut. But who was this powerful woman, and what was so special about the mysterious country she brought back from her incredible expedition? Let's find out in today's episode. In the year 1478 BC, the young princess Hatshepsut came to power. Her father was the pharaoh, and at the time of his death, he had been ruling over a stable and prosperous Egypt. However, before he passed away, he left behind a serious problem. He had no heir, only 2 young children and a stepson, Thutmose, who was old enough to rule, but also too young. This meant that someone had to take charge of the kingdom on behalf of the boy king. And as was customary at the time, the royal wife took on the role of regent until Thutmose came of age. Hatshepsut became a popular and beloved regent. She cared for the people and the kingdom, and it wasn't long before everyone started calling her pharaoh. She ruled wisely, establishing new trade routes and building impressive temples. But the longer she stayed in power, the more difficult it became for her to avoid accusations that she was abusing her authority. After all, she was only acting as a regent, yet she was living in the palace and taking on all the powers and privileges of the king. What's more, she was making sure that Thutmose's younger half-sister, Neferua, was well trained in the arts of government and preparing her to one day become the next ruler of Egypt. Naturally, this didn't sit well with many members of the court, particularly those loyal to King Thutmose, but Hatshepsut didn't let this get to her. She continued to do what she thought was right for Egypt. And eventually, when Thutmose was old enough to rule, she handed over the reins to him and became the great royal wife. Now, some would say that Hatshepsut had it all, but her heart wasn't at ease. You see, despite her many accomplishments, she had yet to embark on an expedition to the mysterious land of Punt. Until then, no Egyptian ruler had ever ventured this far south. It was spoken of in myths and legends, but its exact location remained unknown. Some believed it to be the mythical land of the gods, while others thought it was home to strange creatures and untold riches. Regardless, every pharaoh wished to conquer it and add its treasures to their own collection. Hatshepsut was no different. She spent years preparing for her journey, gathering supplies and recruiting soldiers. When everything was finally in order, she set out on her quest. Hatshepsut sailed south down the river in a fleet of ships, each one carrying provisions for the journey. They traveled for weeks, passing through uncharted waters and into the unknown. As they sailed, the Egyptians recorded everything they saw in detail, including the strange animals and plants they encountered along the way. They continued on until they reached the southernmost point of their journey, where they made camp and prepared to explore the area. From there, the explorers fanned out into the territory, searching for signs of life. They found ruins of ancient cities and tombs filled with treasure, but they never found any people, not a single soul. The entire place was deserted. With no one to claim the land, Hatshepsut declared it an Egyptian territory and named it Nubia. Then they began the long journey home, bringing with them the riches of the deserted cities and the knowledge that they had discovered a new part of the world. But back in Egypt, trouble was brewing. You see, soon after Hatshepsut left on her expedition, her stepson, King Thutmose, died unexpectedly. This left the throne vacant and the kingdom in chaos. While the nobles argued over who should be the next ruler, Hatshepsut was busy charting new trade routes and expanding Egyptian influence across the known world. She didn't want to be seen as a power-hungry woman, so she didn't immediately seize the throne. Instead, she returned to Egypt and played a crucial role in stabilizing the kingdom. She appointed her daughter Neferua as the new pharaoh and set about restoring order to the country. So she took on the role of regent once again, much to the chagrin of her advisors, who had hoped that she would finally let the young pharaoh rule independently. Nevertheless, Hatshepsut was determined to do what she thought was best for Egypt. She continued to expand trade and build magnificent temples, all while keeping a watchful eye on her daughter's progress. Years passed, and Nefrua grew into a wise and capable ruler. Under Hatshepsut's guidance, she learned the intricacies of government and the responsibilities that came with being a pharaoh. Finally, the time came when Hatshepsut felt confident that her daughter was ready to rule on her own. She stepped down as regent and took on the title of Great Royal Wife once again. But her time as regent had been marked by great accomplishments, and her legacy as a powerful and compassionate ruler was cemented in the hearts of the people. Many years later, after a long and happy life, Hatshepsut passed away peacefully in her sleep. She had lived a full and meaningful life, and her accomplishments would be remembered for generations to come. Her daughter, Nefertiti, continued to rule wisely and justly, and Egypt flourished under her leadership. When Nefertiti passed away, her son, Pharaoh Akhenaten, took the throne. He was a visionary ruler who changed the religious and cultural landscape of Egypt forever. Hatshepsut's legacy lived on in him as he, too, embarked on ambitious building projects and expanded trade with other nations. Though Hatshepsut's story was all but forgotten over the centuries, her spirit lived on in the rulers who came after her, inspiring them to be bold, compassionate leaders. Her legacy wasn't fully realized until archaeologists discovered her magnificent temple hidden in the desert sands. As we stand in the shadow of these ancient stones, it's hard to believe that they were built so long ago. Yet here they are, a testament to the power and ingenuity of the ancient Egyptians. But it's not just the architecture that's so fascinating. It's the story behind it, the story of a woman who dared to dream big and break the mold. Hatshepsut wasn't just a queen. She was a force to be reckoned with. She ruled with wisdom and compassion, expanding trade, building magnificent temples and charting new trade routes. But she wasn't content with just keeping things the same. She wanted to leave her mark on the world, and she did just that. Her expedition to the Land of Punt was a bold and risky endeavor, but it paid off in spades. She brought back exotic goods and stories of a distant land that had never been seen before. It was a true adventure, and it's a story that continues to capture our imaginations today. As we explore the ruins of ancient Egypt, it's easy to get lost in the grandeur of it all. But it's the small details that really bring history to life. The intricate carvings on the temple walls tell the story of a people who were deeply spiritual and deeply connected to their world. They believed that the pharaoh was a god-king, and they worshipped the gods of the Nile, the wind, the earth, and the sky. Hatshepsut's legacy lives on in the artifacts that have survived the sands of time. Her statue stands tall and proud, a symbol of her strength and determination. And her name is etched in stone, a reminder of her accomplishments. It's easy to forget that these ancient ruins are all that remain of a once great civilization. The people of ancient Egypt are long gone, but their story continues to unfold. Through the ages, their legacy lives on in the art, architecture, and customs of the modern world. Hatshepsut's story is one of courage, determination, and a thirst for adventure. She was a trailblazer who dared to go where no Egyptian ruler had gone before, and she brought back treasures that enriched her kingdom and expanded the horizons of her people. Her story is a reminder that the past is never truly gone. It's always with us, waiting to be discovered and explored. And now it's time for you to tell me what you think. What did you think of the mighty Queen Hatshepsut? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for joining me on this journey through time. Until next time.